everyone. It's the Rose Show. How are you? So excited today because I have a very dear friend of mine and an unbelievable patent attorney. His name is Richard Gearhart.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Richard. So excited to have you. Oh my gosh, this is
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, and I love podcasting, video casting, streaming. It's you get to share your knowledge with so many people, and I can't wait to get to know your audience a little bit better. So thank you for having me. It's amazing.
Thank you. So I'm super excited. I started the Rose Show back in December, and it's going great. I had a little bit of a hiccup, with my mom and
Right.
all. I got back on track because she absolutely loved me doing this. And every Friday she would get so excited and she'd be like, what was it about today? What was it about today? And then after I would show her the recording, she'd sit there with her little hands underneath her chin and watch it. So
you're a natural at this. I mean, you are. You're very expressive, and you're a great communicator, and you have a lot of interesting, very personal stories. So
yeah, that I do. That I do. And eventually everybody will get to know them a little bit at a time. They've been hearing it. But God, I have enough stories that I don't know how long I could go on.
Well, every time I see you, you have a story. So, and that's been 15 years now. So that's a lot of stories.
15 years. Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
truly
for your audience, like Rosemary was one of our first clients, and Gearhart Law, we do intellectual property, we do patents and trademarks and copyrights and all of those sorts of things. And I left my job at Novartis, and my wife said, well, why don't you start your own practice? And I thought she was nuts, to be honest. I thought that was just like the craziest thing in the world. But we set up an office in my attic, right? And so Rosemary was one of my first clients. She was so excited about her product, Smarty Smart Sticks. And I think we probably talked like almost every day for a while, right? And she had so many ideas, and she if she hasn't told you the Smarty Smart Sticks story, you haven't heard anything, because I'll tell you, every week she would go into Friendly's, right? And she would get her Smarty Smart Sticks costume on, and she would take these sticks and she would hand them out at the table while people were waiting for their food, and the kids would play Smarty Smart Sticks, and they would have a great time.
Yeah.
And the manager at Friendly's, would say, look at, when Roe was in and they were doing the Smarty Smart Sticks game, we had like so much more business. The restaurant was
20% increase within the first month.
20% increase.
20% increase. Yes.
And so, Rosemary used to go on the parades, right? You used to do the parades, and you get dressed up in your costume.
Yes.
And so she just has so much enthusiasm and passion for the things that are important to her, and it just shows, right? I
love my Smarty Smart Sticks, and they are developing, and they're getting out there. Like you said, Friendly's was great. They sat down at the table. They engaged with their parents, the kids. Usually they're on the phone all the time, but with the game, they were playing. And when the food came out, we collected the sticks back. Whoever had the most sticks was the winner. It was great. They loved it. And the character, crazy for the character too.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's a great family game, and it helps build the relationships within the family. And like you said, Elizabeth and I were out to dinner or lunch a couple of weeks ago, and there was this young family. They were sitting in the corner of this restaurant, and they were all dressed up, and each one of them were on their phone. And they had two, I think they were twins, but they had two little boys, and they were like looking at their phone and watching a cartoon or something. I could see them, and dad was on the phone, and mom was on the phone. And it's like, why did they even bother to go out
Right.
for dinner? Because I watched them, and and I pointed it out to Elizabeth, like, they're not even talking,
No,
right?
well, yeah, they think they're going out with, for quality time, but really, when they're going from the phone to the plate, back to the phone again, where's the quality time? Where's the communication? It's not there. Yeah.
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 So hopefully that was just you know just a one-time event for that family. Hopefully they
Yeah.
uh, communicate a lot. Who knows? Maybe they've been talking all day and they were just tired of
That's
each
true.
other. So
Or possibly looking at pictures, because sometimes that's what we do. We look at pictures when we're all together, showing each other pictures. That just happened last night, actually. We went to TGI Fridays. It was my niece's 13th birthday. And my sister-in-law brought up a picture from like 8, 10 years ago of us there. It was funny, but we were all, who was on the phone, who was looking down at this. It was like everybody was doing something.
yeah, some nights are like that.
Technology today. What are we going to do, right?
But
But yeah,
smart sticks, though, is at least that's an option. And kids were having fun and the parents were having fun, so it's
yes.
it's always a good thing. So
Yeah, that's definitely good, getting back on track. My health, unfortunately, for a while now, has been constantly throwing the wrench into me getting this thing out into the world. Um, and then losing my house during Sandy, and the product that we had, it's just been, it's been constant,
a lot of hurdles. Yeah.
something trying to get in the way,
Yeah.
but not for me. I'm going to
No,
keep going.
that's right. Well, you will, and
Yeah.
of course you will.
Yeah.
That's
So
that's 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 Rosemary. She never gives up,
that's right.
and so that's the way you got to live your life. Did COVID hit your family really hard, or
It
was
did. It did. Yeah. Well, I got it first, and I quarantined for 3 weeks in my bedroom. I didn't leave because I didn't want my mom to get it. My mom lives with me, and well, lived with me, and she ended up catching it. She made it out of the hospital, but
yeah?
then just a couple of days afterwards, she ended up dying with a heart attack.
Uh, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It,
Thank you.
yeah, it must have been difficult,
Oh
and
gosh. And if you see my video, the Roe show, on the episode when I finally got back to doing this again, because she wanted me to do this so bad. And after she died, I just couldn't get back on. There was like this block. But then I thought about it. I'm like, she'd be so upset right now if I do this. I have to push through. And so I did the episode on her. Oh, well, I thought I was going to be able to hold in the tears, but that didn't happen. So for
yeah,
28 minutes, I cried, but I expressed out. I expressed so much that I think there was a lot of healing that went on at the same time. Because when you're, around people and they go to console you, and then it's like, you stop crying they're consoling you, so you stop crying. But for 28 minutes, I got to let it all out. And
yeah.
I know she was watching me. And since then, I've been able to get back on camera. So it definitely helped me. And I know she was right there by my side, pushing and cheering me on. So yeah.
I'm sure she's up there watching you now, and I think she's probably watching the show just the same way that she did when she was alive, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
we have
Yes.
to we
And
have
certainly looking down on me, waiting for me to get all these ideas to the market.
right.
I'm
Well,
I'm
you
on a
know,
mission.
you
And
got to get your
Richard,
butt in gear.
yes, Richard has been, guys, let me go back a little bit. So when I first came up with the idea, I did a lot of research on patent attorneys and stuff. And Richard was the only one that when I called, he gave me like 25 minutes of his time just explaining stuff to me. And when I got off that phone, I knew he was the one. He was the one. And even though he was like an hour and a half away from where I lived,
I know you drove all that way.
I got in that car. I didn't care. All the other ones that I talked to, nobody hit me like you did. And
Well, that's
and
fine.
I got in the car. I'll never forget the drive there, and I will never forget the drive back.
You were
The
driving a pretty swanky Mercedes too. I remember that.
Yes, yes. Did a lot of real estate.
You're
Yes.
doing a lot of real estate. That was a cool
So,
car. So yeah.
thank you. So the Sandy took that too on me, by the way. Yeah.
Oh no, gosh. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
So
terrible.
anyway, my drive back home, I was never so. God, the feeling, I can't even explain it. I was elated with happiness and joy and just calm and knew I was in the right hands. And
Well,
and
thank you.
yeah, yeah. And then I got to meet the rest of his family. Amazing, amazing people. His wife is adorable and she's awesome. And we're gonna have her on the show too, Elizabeth.
Oh,
Who
you
also,
better.
right? She also
She's jealous, by the way.
patents and everything. She's doing so much as well, right? Like
Oh,
you have taken off from the attic to like, woo, you
yeah.
are high up there. You are sparkling with those stars, Richard. I'm so, so excited for you. So
Well,
excited.
thank you. It's, I mean, all I can do is, just knock on wood and, appreciate all of the things that God has given us. And, really, it's not always been easy. I
No,
mean,
it's hard work.
it's hard work. And, we started the business just like any other entrepreneur would start, their business. And I had worked for a big company and I didn't really have a big network. So we really had to scramble hard. And they're looking back at it. Elizabeth and I sometimes look at each other and say, we were crazy, but it turned out okay. And
Amazing.
yeah, and I really like the feeling of satisfaction that I get helping clients, achieve their dreams. And work is really one way that people express themselves, right? Is through what you create and what you build.
That's
And
right.
so to be part of that and help people achieve that is really my purpose. It's really why
Mhm.
yeah, I have to pay the bills, right? But I mean that the reason why it's done well is because I think people appreciate that approach. And we've helped we've helped a lot of people. We've helped is getting close to 4,000 clients now in the last 16 years.
Woohoo!
It's a lot
Wow,
of clients,
that's
but
amazing.
but what's also important is our employees. So
Mhm.
um, we've had people with us now who've gotten married, bought houses, started families, and
That's
to also kind of be a part of that and help them and see them turn into adults. And that's also very satisfying.
they stick around for one reason, right? When you find good people, it's so hard to find, right, Rich? It's so
Oh
hard
yeah,
to find good people.
got
When
to
you
kiss a
find
lot of
good people,
frogs.
you gotta stick, you gotta stick together.
Right, you got to stay together. That's right.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so
I've met amazing people. I mean, your parties are amazing. The people that are there, great. I mean, brilliant, brilliant people. But all the,
yeah,
I love being an inventor. I
and
love coming up with ideas. I have so many of them. I can't
I
wait.
know you just have like a ton of ideas.
My
So
brain doesn't shut off. It
Yeah,
just
so I'm on the opposite side. I have no ideas. So I need,
for you, like, the idea is right.
but
You help us.
I'm not the creative type, right? But
But
I'm
you
more,
help us think out of the box when we give you the idea, right? You come up with
well,
all the great things that we didn't see, that you see, that could help better our patents.
oh, and that's one of the best parts of it too, is brainstorming with the client and thinking of when you file a patent, a utility patent, the idea is to protect as many variations on it as you can. So
Right.
that, if I were to file a patent on my desk here, for example, in an ideal world, I would file it so that it covers wood, metal, glass, plastic. I'd file for a desk that has an L shape or a rectangular shape or drawers or no drawers or 4 legs or 5 legs. I would try to cover as many different variations. I would just try to file on the concept, the idea of a desk, and then protect as many of those variations as I can, so that somebody can't just change the shape of the top and get around the patent. So part of our job is to brainstorm with our clients and say, okay, now you may want to sell a rectangular desk, but you also don't want somebody else selling an oval desk. So what are all the different ways that somebody could try to get around your patent by changing something? And so that's a very important piece of the puzzle when you're trying to protect your ideas, is to
That's a huge piece. Wow.
cover cover as many variations as you can. And sometimes the patent office forces you to narrow things down more, and then sometimes, but usually you can find a way to meet in the middle, and that's how you get your patent. So, um, but Roe and we had a lot of discussions because the first patent she filed was tough to get through,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some changes to the law that occurred after we filed it that made her type of uh, patent more difficult to get. So we brainstormed around it and we
Mm-hmm.
came up with a solution. And Roe was like, well, what if I add this? And I said, well, I think that'll do it. And so we added that, and the patent went through.
Yeah.
So, and it's very few people actually get patents. You're very part of a very, very, very small fraction.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's far less than 1% of people in the world are inventors and have their names on patents. Put you in a very special, and it's not just having the idea, but it's having the idea and then going through the examination where the patent examiner tries to find ways to block your patent. And so to go through that whole process and come out at the end puts you in a very special class. Right now in the US patent office, only about 40 to 50% of applications are approved. And so our
Amazing.
yeah, so our stats at Gearhart Law are better than that, much better than that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really the case that if to get a utility patent puts you in a special class of people who are especially creative and
Oh, thank you. I didn't even know that. Like, I had no idea that it was that slim pickings.
yeah, you're up there. You're if this was the LSA, or if this was the SATs, you'd be like double 800. So
Oh my gosh.
so
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Wow.
so you'd be 1600 or whatever the top.
Marty Smart Six will be as big as all those other cartoons out there.
There
I
you
know.
go.
I know it will be.
You
And,
got to
and
think big.
everybody loves it. Everybody
Yeah,
absolutely loves it.
yeah.
So for someone that has an idea, what do you tell them? What's the first step that they should do?
Well, I mean, first thing is you should talk. You should really talk with an intellectual property professional if you have a product that you're trying to launch that is going to be different. I mean, if you're opening a hair salon and you're kind of doing something that is already that, you're only changing the branding. So if you have you see a website that sells blue bicycles and you decide to sell pink bicycles, then that's probably, you don't really need to worry about the IP so much. Um, but if you're doing something new, if you're launching a new product, um, or if you're, your business name, you need to make sure that your business name is okay, that somebody else doesn't have a trademark that already covers your business name. You want to make sure that the name that you use when you're starting the business is
Key.
available. Yeah.
Yeah, that's key.
So, and trademarks aren't super expensive, and a lot of times what happens is people start their business and they call it something, and because it sounds good, and then they start to get successful, and you find out that there's somebody in California who filed a trademark registration, and all of a sudden they see your website on the internet, and they send you a nasty letter, and so it can cause a real problem. If you've invested a lot of money in advertising, in promoting your brand, and then if the marks are identical or they're too close, then you may have to make changes. You may have to change your packaging and signs and all of that. It becomes very expensive. And so it's cheaper to check first before you go public with your business name, to make sure that you don't put a lot of time and money into it and find out later that somebody else already has that name. And now what do? You have to spend a lot. I have one client who picked a name and he filed the trademark himself,
Hmm.
and is big client. I mean, he grew his business from one person to, you know, millions of dollars a year. And another company had a similar name, not exactly the same name, but a similar name. And he ended up getting sued. And he's been in litigation now with us for a long time. And he's got, he spent so much money uh, investing in the branding and going to trade shows, and he doesn't really want to change his name, but it's costed him a lot of money, in lawsuits and
Ay, ay, ay.
proceedings and everything else. And if he had gotten good advice from the beginning, somebody would have, a good attorney will be able to look at all the issues out there and say, well, if we change the name a little bit or we do this, then we think you'll stay out of trouble, right?
Right,
And
right.
you may pay a lawyer, $2,500 to get that trademark for you, but if it's done right and you work with experienced people, it can save you a lot of money in the long run, and it can save a
And
lot of
peace of
problems.
mind. Yeah, peace of mind for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing I would always say, if they, if that I can add to the mix, is that if you're going to launch a new product, if you're going to do it, start a new business, check the names of make sure you have the name is available. And also, if you're launching a new product, make sure nobody else has thought of the idea and has a
So they
patent
would
to
do a
talk to.
patent search, right? Like I did the patent search, right?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. But so, when you're starting a new company, you've always got a lot of different expenses. So I'm not sure that the IP should be like necessarily the first expense,
Mm-hmm.
but it should come at an early time. So if you're going to call your company Smarty Smart Six Company, you want to make sure the Smarty Smart Six is available, because that's what you're going to call your LLC. And you need an LLC to get a bank account, right?
Right.
And so that's something. And if you go to the database at the New Jersey the New Jersey Treasury and check the availability of Smarty Smart Sticks, the name may be available, but somebody can still have a trademark on it.
Right.
So anyway, I don't want to make it too complicated, but you should really talk with at least have a free phone consultation with somebody.
But the best attorney.
Well, you can call me, of course.
Yes.
Of course. But you need to talk with someone and who's knowledgeable. And, if you have to pay $200 for half an hour of somebody's time, I mean, we give free consultations. Our first consultations are free, and we can answer a lot of your questions, off the meter. But even if you have to pay for it, it's worth, a half an hour, spend $200 or whatever it is, just to get the information. So at least you're going into it with your eyes open, right? And it's one place where a lot of people trip up, and we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want that to hurt you.
Yeah. I was watching your video on trademarking a sound. Right? I think it was Budweiser that was trying to do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was on the Passage to Profit show.
Yes.
Right? So Budweiser, I don't know if this was like a joke or not, but you can trademark a sound. And so Budweiser tried to trademark the sound of the beer can, pull top being opened, right? Which is totally ridiculous.
Oh, no. Like how is that possible?
Right. And so, hang on. So it was pretty funny. And the trademark examiner actually did a video clip experiment as part of the examination, and he sent it back to Budweiser. But he had 4 cans of beer and 1 can of Coke over, and he opened each can of beer and it made the same sound. And then he opened the can of Coke and it made the same sound. So he's like, of course I'm not going to give you a trademark on this. And so, he made a big deal out of it. And the funny thing is that he asked his boss if at the trademark office if they would pay for the beers and that he used in the experiment. And they said, no, we're not going to pay for the beers, but we'll pay for the can of Coke. So he was kind of disappointed that I guess the patent office didn't want to buy their people any alcohol.
Right.
But holy cow, I mean, it's just amazing, but it's a funny story.
Music and all that stuff is trademark, right? You can do copyrights and stuff like that for all that type of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Songs and yep.
So trademarks protect brands mostly. So, and they're a source identifier, and what that means is if you buy something with a certain trademark, what company made it, right? So in the case of like Coca-Cola, which is the most famous trademark ever, if you buy a Coca-Cola, then that it came from the Coca-Cola bottling company, and it's going to taste like this, and it's going to have this many calories, and it's going to be made out of this stuff, right? So, if anybody could use the word Coke, right, you would have all different kinds of sodas. They would taste different. They would, and so this way, all right, you're buying a Coca-Cola, what it's going to taste like, and you're not going to be confused or fooled. The customer is not going to be confused or fooled. And that's like if you go to McDonald's, that you're going to get your Big Mac is going to be the same in Florida as it is in California. Yes, so do I. But there's the devil's in Big Macs.
Oh, no. For sure.
So anyway, my waistline. My mouth loves the Big Macs, but my waistline does not. So, my waistline gets bigger. I guess it likes them, but I just don't like my big waistline. So, anyway,
Colors are also patentable or not?
Colors, they
Mhm,
can be, or
mhm,
colors can be trademarkable.
right.
Um, and so I don't know if, I grew up in the Midwest, right? And so I saw a lot of farms in my day, and you could always recognize the John Deere tractors because they were bright yellow and green, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And so, for example, that bright yellow and green combination, those particular yellows and greens are trademarked by the John Deere company, and because that's their look, right? And Owens Corning Fiberglass was the first company that ever got a trademark on the color pink because
Mhm.
they used pink insulation on the inside of houses, and they got famous for their Pink Panther advertisements
Right.
and the pink color of the insulation, and so they were able to get the trademark for the color pink for insulation. But obviously, you can use the color pink for other stuff. You just can't use it if you're in the insulation
Information
business.
business. Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So,
UPS has it on brown, right? UPS?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, right, yeah. So
Yeah,
there's
really interesting. So interesting,
yeah,
right? I love all this stuff.
and you can trademark smells too. So
Mhm.
now, of course, there are some smells that we don't want to trademark, but
That's for sure.
but, but perfumes. There are perfumes that have trademarks on them.
Now listen, I got something else I got to talk to you about on a side note. Yeah, I have two perfumes that I use.
Uh huh.
That the combination of the two,
Right.
everybody compliments me on. I get
Well,
compliments all the time. You smell so good. What is that? Oh, you smell so good. What is that? I never tell them what it is.
it's your secret
Because
formula.
one day, yes, it's going to be Rose Fortune, is what I'm going to call it.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
Yeah.
another.
I mean, that might be a tough one to protect, but what the heck, we could always try, right? So,
Mhm,
uh,
mhm.
you know, that's nice. I personally, I should probably wear cologne. Elizabeth, my wife, likes it when I do, but I always forget to put it on in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And and so anyway, by the end of the day, I think she wishes I had put on some cologne. Anyway, that's getting a little too personal here for your audience. I'm sure they don't need to
Oh,
know my
that's
personal
okay.
habits.
It shows that you're real. You're a real person, Rich, and that's what I love. Absolutely love, love, love from
Yeah,
day one about you. Like
yeah. What
really,
you see is what you get. That's for
you're,
sure.
you're right. You're so special. And I'm looking forward to getting all my ideas out and just growing and growing and growing and keep getting patents from you and bringing it all out there because it will
Yeah.
definitely be. And I'm excited about it.
Well,
But
we're excited for you, and we're behind you 100%, Rose. So
thank
just pick
you
up the
so
phone. We're
much.
always here.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Richard. What do you know? It's time to go.
Oh, I was
I
having so
know.
much fun.
I
It
know.
was so great to be on your show.
Thank
And
you so much for making the time for me. I really, really appreciate it.
oh, no problem at all. Anytime. So
Thank you. I
anytime at
look
all.
forward to other times and I look forward to more things coming our way.
Yep. It's just down the road. So keep it going.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody. Thanks
Oh,
again, Rose.
guys, yeah, listen. Every Friday, 4 o'clock, it's the Rose Show. But listen, real important. Go to Gearhart Law. You need a
Right.
great attorney, great patent attorney. GearhartLaw.com.
Yeah, it's just
The place
spelled
to go.
it's www.gearhartlaw, spelled GearhartLaw.com. So it's like gear, like the gear, and the heart without the E, and you put them together, and you stick a law at the end, and you put a com on there, and you'll see my mug, looking
and,
right at
and,
you.
and, and you'll
And
be
then if that doesn't scare you away, pick up the phone and give us a call if you
yeah,
want to talk to us some more.
you'll
So
be the best hands ever. All right, Rich, it was great seeing you. My
have a
best
nice weekend.
and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye, everyone.